Just imagine turning a single text prompt into a complete Etsy digital product business. No design skills needed, no technical headaches, just your idea transformed into profit. I've cracked the code on true Etsy automation, and in this video I'm sharing my entire system. This isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter with automations that generate both SVG and PNG products all at scale, creates optimized titles and descriptions automatically, sets up your Etsy listings without you having to lift a finger, and turns simple text prompts into a profitable digital product empire. And the best part is you only need to write one prompt and approve the image, and even that can be automated. The system handles everything for you. So in this video, I'm going to show you the entire walkthrough and step-by-step showcasing you how to build this automated money-making machine. And by the end of the tutorial, you'll have a system that works 24/7, generating digital listings while you sleep. Ready to turn your digital ideas into an automated Etsy business? Well, let's build it together. First, you will need an Airtable account. That's the database where we're going to put in all the prompts in and where all the images will be returned to. After that, you will need a Make account, an Etsy account, a Leonardo account, and either an OpenAI or a DeepSeek account. That's just to be able to create the titles or the descriptions, and a Pixart account. That is to create the SVGs from any of the images that you've created. On top of that, we'd like to add a watermark over the top of any image we create, and we're using Google accounts, so you can use that for free. These are the tools you'll need. First thing I do want to mention, get your Etsy account set up in full. Do all the stuff that Etsy is asking you, so your tax number, your personal address. You'll need to show who you are. Get it all set up before you can even attempt this. So Airtable, that's the first step that we're going to go into. This is an Airtable account. It's nothing more than what Google Sheets is, but it's a little bit more powerful. So it's got little automations in the background. We've set it up in 2 tabs. So a request page, that's where we're going to be putting our prompt in. And after that, it will be sending it off to a second tab, and it will show you the image here on this field. And then you can sort of add the price you want to give it. Say $1 or $2 or $10, whatever price you want, and then it will show you. It will start converting it to SVG, and then it will do all the rest for you. So post it straight into it. I'm just going to head off to Etsy and show you what we could be making. Let's go for a cute cat PNG. Okay. First of all, this could be any niche that you want. Yeah, if you're into dogs, if you have a store about, I don't know, whatever you're interested in, whatever you think people want, I would advise you do a bit of research on the front. So use a tool such as Everbee. You can use that for free. There's also a paid version of it. I'm using a free tool called Allura. I could have a look. Let me just have a look. I have my Allura tool installed here. So I'm just scrolling up and down. Click on this Allura tool, and then it will show you the monthly revenue of everything on this page. But I want to just have a look at total. Here you go. Here's a cute clip art bundle, but here's a cute kitten SVG or a funny coffee cat. And I've already saved this one, so I'm going to go for this one, and it'll tell you the revenue on this one is $314, and this in all time, $256 of all time. Okay, not a lot of money, but it doesn't do anything. It just sits there and people download it $1 at a time. So that's how you make your passive income. I am going to be showing you how we can literally make a cute little bunny, a cute little cat. Let's do it. What do I want to create? I'm going to say I have a prompt set up. So I'm going to say a cute kitten sitting illustration, black and white. I'm going to go hit OK. Number of proofs. Okay, how many copies do you want to see? I'm just going to go for 4. We've set it up that that this automation has the models in it. So we're using Leonardo. Leonardo is a paid tool, but it's well worth it if you get it set up all at once. I'm going to go for Leonardo Phoenix 1. Now, what this automation is doing right now, it's actually running and it's creating 4 images for you. And as soon as it's deployed them, it will put them back here. you'll put them in the do not edit SVG library. So I'm not going to do anything so you'll see that will run this automation. There you go. It's come up with 4 images. I'm just going to click on the first one. There you go. There's a cute little kitten. Let me show you the results, because I could literally just click on 1, 2, and these items here. So it's come up with 4 different cats, but I could also have a look at my SVG, and then you can see the kittens or cats it's come up with. So say I like this one, yeah, very easy one. I'm going to go for, the price of this one is going to be $1.99. Now, I only want to approve this one. I'm going to say approve, and now the second automation has started running, and it goes down this whole path, and it will, in this case, we're going to go for our lovely DeepSeek. There, I have a draft set up. Adorable black and white kitten sitting illustration, SVG. Yeah, that's what it's created. It's got a primary image with a watermark over the top. So we have an SVG downloaded and the PNG file here. And let me scroll down, and it's come up with a description for you as well. Remember that price that we put in here, and that has been mapped. That has been mapped into here. So it also tells you the estimated earnings here. So I'm in the Netherlands, so I only make €1.28 on this if I were to sell it at $1.99. The estimated fees, and you can have a look in Etsy how they calculate all the fees. But imagine doing this 100,000 times, and you could make you could make loads of money doing this. So I'm just going to say save draft. Go to airtable.com, make an account, sign up for free. By the way, if you want to get the whole automation, everything that we've made, so you don't have to do what we're doing here, you don't have to follow along, you can just import it and it will work straight away. Head over to our community. It costs $34 a month. Even if you just pay it once, you can get all our automations. But just so you know, we do have like 4 to 6 really cool automations that we release every month. We have got an active community, and yeah, we'd love to see you inside the community. So let's get in. I'm going to create a new Airtable. I'm going to create a new base. So I'm logged into my account. I'm going to create a new base. I'm going to say start from scratch. Now, first, I'm going to rename this tab at the top. I'm going to, where the user will input their data. I'm going to delete the other fields. I'm going to name this one ID. I'm going to call it ID. I'm going to put it in it as an auto number. So every item will just be numbered automatically. I'd like to put another field. What would you like to create is what I'm going to put in. I'm going to put that in as a long text. Next, I'm going to put in number of proofs, and I could just a single select is what I'm going to use. I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, 6. That's it. That's all you have to do with these fields. Okay. Then I'm going to add another tab. So I'm going to say start from scratch, and this table or tab I'm going to call SVG library. Okay, I'm going to do the same again here. I'm going to remove all of these 3 notes assigning and status. Then I'm going to go, just going to make it a little bit larger so when the images come through you can see them properly. Now I'm going to put the name, I'm going to replace that, I'm going to put ID, and I'm going to change it down to auto number again. So just like I did in the first step. Next field is going to be, I'm just going to copy one I have, do not edit, Leonardo prompt is what I'm going to call it, and I'm going to make it a long text. Okay, next one I'm going to put in, I'm going to put image in here, and now it's going to come in as a form as an attachment. So that's where all my attachments come in. Now I need to put in a URL first. I'm going to say here, URL. And this will be the URL from Leonardo. So just put URL in there, click OK. Let me just move it to the left to make it a little bit more clear. And I'm going to put set price as another one. as a currency field. So we can set the value of the SVG or the PNG, and I'm going to put in dollars as a placeholder. Next, I'm going to add this one in, a status. Let me just grab it. And this I'm going to use as a label. Status must set price first. And that's going to be a single select. But this time the fields are going to be new, approved, and live. And the default value is going to be new. So anything that comes in is going to have a default value of new. And then I'm just going to say create. I'd like to add one more thing. I'm going to put a Leonardo ID in here. Let me just create it. Leonardo ID, and I'm going to put a single line and just create it. That's where all my Leonardo IDs go. Next one, SVG, attachment. I'd like to have it as an attachment to be uploaded back into Airtable. I'm going to create the field. So there we go. That's the page built out. So now what we need to do, we just need to add a link record to the end. So I can associate the record in the request page to the record in SVG. I'm just going to go request page here. I'm going to say create field, and then what do I want to link it to? I don't need to say anything. I'm just going to skip. That's it. That's all I'm done. I'm done for this one. Okay, so now we're going to tackle the automation. So click on the automation. So you've got your first two tabs. I'm going to set up our first automation here. So I'm going to rename this automation. I'm going to name it generate proofs. It's got a name now. I'm going to add a trigger when record matches condition. And I'm going to be watching a request page, so that first page in the data. And the condition is going to be when what would you like to create is not empty. So when it has a field and the ID number of proofs is also not empty, then the action will be triggered. And then the action is going to be to run a script. So I'm going to send my webhook here. I'm going to delete what's in here standard, and I'm going to put a little bit of code in. Let me just have a look. Here we go. So I'm just going to add this code in, and then on the side here, I'm going to add two variables. One is called webhook, and I'm just going to leave the value empty because this is where you put your webhook in from make.com. And you can see that this is no longer blank. And now I'd like to declare this record ID, and I'm going to say record ID, which will come from the trigger condition. So I'm going to click on this plus, and then I'm going to say record ID from Airtable. That's it. That's automation one done. Okay, now I need to replicate this one. I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call it create SVG. And then all I need to do for this one, I don't need to edit the script. I just need to change the conditions. So I'm going to remove these. I'm going to watch the SVG instead of the other one. And then I want to add two conditions. I'm going to say set price is not empty. And another condition, the status is, let me just have a look. Also, it's going to be approved. And then I can run the automation. So when those actions happen, when these things happen, it will actually carry on with the automation. Now we're going to build out the Leonardo library in the SVG. I'm going to create another record from scratch. So we're going to be talking to all the models within Leonardo. So I'm just going to call this one Leonardo models. I'm going to click on and save. I'm going to remove all of these, and I'm going to hit delete. And then let me just have a look. I'm going to delete all the records as well here. So I have a completely blank slate. So the first field that we need here is called model. That's the model that we're referencing in Leonardo. And that's just going to be a single line of text. The next field is going to be attachment. So that's going to be the image. So those are the model images. Image. And it's going to be attachment. And I'm going to say OK. Then I need a description and an ID. So that's just a single line of text. So here I go. I'm going to description. And then a single line of text. And then the ID is going to be, let me just grab that. It's going to say ID single, no, it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be single line of text. And then going to say create field. And then I need a couple more things. No, that's it. That's all we need for this one. So that's all we need. And then I'm going to go back to make. I'm going to create another scenario just to test this. So this is not part of our automation. This is just a quick test. Yeah. So I'm going to go add this purple button. I'm going to say Leonardo, make an API call. I'm just going to give, let me just connect. Yeah, let me just connect it onto the right one. Then now I need to get the documentation from Leonardo. So I'm just going to go to Leonardo. .ai and then API. So you get this. So this is the documentation. I need to verify I'm a human. I am indeed. Okay, then I click on the API documentation and I need to get the API reference, and then I'm going to go down to models and then I go for list platform models. So this is where I need to get all my stuff from. That's what I'm looking for. So v1 slash, let me have a look. I'm going to put that URL in here. So v1 platform models. I'm going to hit OK. I'm just going to run it once. Let's see what I get. So now if I look at the outputs, let me have a look. There you go. There's all the models. I've just listed them all. And I've got 44 models in total, and I'd like to just put them into my Airtable. No limit for this. Okay, so I'm going to add an iterator over this. I'm going to go to flow controller, iterator. I'm going to iterate through the custom models. So I'm going to sort of split them all up. And after that, I'm going to hit this plus. I'm going to go for Airtable. Let me create a record. And then I'm going to go and select my base. Yeah, this is just my test one here, Alex. And then my table is going to be my Leonardo models. That's the one that we're working in now. And then the model is going to come from the name. And then the image is going to come from, let me show you. It's going to be that the image URL right here from the iterator. And then the description is going to be from here, and the ID will be from here. So that's all I have to do. So now if I go over to here, back into my Airtable, I'm just going to run this once. So it should send it all. It crashed. Sometimes this happens within Airtable. So let me just try and fix it. I think what happened is that the iterator didn't have an image. I'm just going to check it. So sometimes there isn't an image. So what I'm going to try and do here, I'm going to just remove the image URLs. I'm going to save it and then create a new record. I'm going to add a filter on the end. I'm going to go, let me just have a look. Airtable, I'm going to go update a record. I'm going to do the same table. It's a little bit of a complicated way of doing it, but I'm just going to talk to the same base, SVG store, and then my table, Leonardo models. And then I'm going to put the record ID, I'm going to put the ID in. And all we want to do is just add the image here. And then put the URL at the end. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah. Save, and then I'm going to add a filter here. I'm going to say this, I'm going to add a filter. So I'm going to say condition is if this, is equal, no, let me have a look, exists. If this URL exists, then proceed, and if it doesn't exist, then don't update. At least this way we're going to capture all the information we need. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to just run it, and then I'm going to go back. There you go, it started running through it. So it's iterating through everything. It's going to collect all of the models. You can see it's being, it's populating the database, and see the number 7 is the problem there. Now, let me just select the first 3. I'm going to delete them. They were already in. So number 3 was the problem because it didn't have an image in. So I'm going to say extra tall, so you can see all the images, so you can sort of see the model previews. So now when I go to the request page, I'm just going to hit this plus, and then I'm going to say link a record. I'm going to Leonardo model, and then I'm going to say, I'm going to click create a field, and then I'm going to say add this ID, add one field. So now what happens, I'm just going to move this up to the left. So now I will be able to select the model from my Leonardo column. Now all I need to say, I just need to go back to my automation. I need to go to generate proofs. I need to add one more little condition. Add a condition in here, and the condition is going to be when Leonardo models, let me just have a look, is also not empty, then run script. That's it. Let's test it, see if it works. A spotty puppy. Number of proofs, I'm just going to say 1, and then because I've just set it up, I need to switch on my automation. Let me have a look. I'm just going to choose a random, oh, it's already populated it. There you go. I'm going to go for flux def, and then I could check my automation and see if it works. I'm test automation. Yeah, I can say which record do I want to, yeah, I can select the record. I'm just going to click on that one. So it's working. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is how we can build this whole thing in make.com. So how we can connect everything together. If you don't have a make.com account, go to make.com. You can get started for free. Let's have a quick look at the pricing. You can get it for free, literally. You can get 1,000 operations a month. And even if you wanted to use 10,000 operations, so every little module is an operation, that would be $9 a month. We're on the $16 plan, and we run it continuously. So it's not an expensive tool. Okay, let's get started. Remember the database that we had set up? That's what we're going to start with. We're going to connect that onto our automation. So go to make.com, log in, get started. Once you're logged in, it will look something like this. And then top right, click on create a scenario. The first thing I want you to do is to search for Airtable. I want to go Airtable, and I'm going to go watch for responses. So we need to create that webhook that I left blank in the previous step. So I'm going to just give it a name here. So I'm just going to call it demo Alex, and then I'm going to say save. And now there will be a webhook here. I'm going to copy this one. So this is how we connect it onto our Airtable. So I'm going to go back to my Airtable automation. I'm going to go to my automation, and then I'm going to click on this generate proof, the one that we made in the previous step. Now, if I were to click here on the right hand side, you'll see my webhook. So I'm going to paste my original webhook into here, and that's it. I'm going to say update, and now it's done. It's connected onto it. So you've built the Airtable, we've connected it on, and it should run now. So that's the very first step that we do. I'm just going to say save here. Then next thing I'm going to do, I always like to name my modules. So I'm going to say rename. I'm going to call this one watch request page. Watch request page. Okay, so after this, what we need to do, we need to grab another module. So I want to get all the information that I've put in the original rows here, all of these. I want to send that off to the next part. So I want to get a record. So I'm going to say Airtable, I'm going to say get a record, and then it will connect onto my Airtable account. Then I'm going to say the base, what is the base called? I've renamed it in the meantime, so it's SVG store. SVG store, that's the one I'm using. And then what table do I want to get? I want to get the request page. And then what ID? This one is the one that I need to map. If you don't have this one set up there, if you don't have anything that you can map, you need to run this module once. And in order to do that, you just fill in your Airtable. I'm just going to do that. And now I just say run once. And then it will show you the data here, and it will send it off. So this has got little one and this has got little one. So both have data received. If you, without running that first module, you will not be able to map this. So just do that once, demo content, that's all fine. Okay, let's carry on. Like I said, I always want to rename them. So I'm going to say get request. Now, we need to connect on Leonardo. So the next thing, I just click on the plus here and I type in Leonardo. You will need an API for this. Go to leonardo.com, sign up for the account. Once you've done that, you just click on, within Make, you click on Leonardo, and then we're going to say generate an image. So which one are we going to be using? I'm just going to connect on our account. Now I have a prompt off screen here. I will put it in. Here we go. There's my prompt. A freestanding image. So we're asking Leonardo to make a freestanding image. Easy to cut out, a vector graphic style. So what do I want to put in front here? I want to put the original, what do I want to create? Because this is where I'm going to put my prompt in. I'm going to put in here cute cat cartoon style. So that's what it will be showing. So anything you put in this field will be mapped there. So what I do is I'm going to say I would like to map the field, this one. What would I like to create? So here we go. What would I like to create? So it would be a cute cat illustration, a freestanding image, easy to cut out, vector graphic style. So it combines those two prompts together. Next, I need to connect on my model ID, and to do that, I need to map it. So select Leonardo model. That's the one I want to be mapping. Now, after that, I want to go the number of images I want to generate. So we have a drop down for that, number of proofs. So number of proofs is what I'm going to be mapping. Then I'm going to go and show advanced, leave source empty. That's fine. Let's put this at 1024 by 1024. That's the maximum that we can do within this, but we're going to upscale it later and it will be turned to an SVG. So it should be really good quality afterwards. So the only thing here I want to do, put the unzoom on no. I want to leave the alchemy on empty, and I want to put the prompt magic on no. And then I'm just going to scroll down. Do I want transparency? I'm going to leave that on no. And then I'm going to just save. So those are the only things that you have to do. So let me just quickly name my automation at the top. Then I'm going to hit save. Now this is what I have so far. So I've got watch request page, get a request info, and generate an image with Leonardo. From there, we need to get the information that's coming out of Leonardo. So I'm going to click the plus, I'm going to click flow control, and then I'm going to click iterate. And iterator just makes sure. So what I'm going to map, I'm going to go map the generated images. Then I hit save. Then what I want to do, I just want to send everything back to my Airtable. So in order to do that, I need to send it all back to the second tab within our Airtable. So what I do, I'm going to say create a record. Is that the right one? Create a record, yeah. Then I select the base that I want to be on. So I'm going to do the same thing, SVG store. And now it will ask me for my SVG store. And then after that, I'm going to ask what table, where do I need to post all this information to? So what was that called? That's called SVG library. So SVG library. Now just let it load. What I'd like to do next I'd like to put the prompt in here. So I'm going to say prompt, sorry, there. And then I'm going to put the URL, which is going to be the URL from the iterator in the previous step. I'm going to put within my images here, I'm going to put my URL here. I'm going to scroll down a little and I'm going to put my Leonardo ID here. So that would be the ID that I've generated within the iterator. I scroll down and I have this record. So I'm in record page, record ID 1. I'm going to put that would be the record ID from the original Airtable. So we're talking to the same one. After that, I'm going to say smart link no, and I just say save. I'm going to go over to my Airtable, and then I'd like to put in a prompt. So I have one under my copy paste button, and it's a cute kitten sitting illustration, black and white. How many do I want to have? How many images do I want to see? How many proofs? I'm going to go for number 4. What model do I want to use? Well, this field here is the trigger for the whole automation. So as soon as I hit which one I want to be using, the automation will be triggered. But I need to have the automation set to immediately. So as soon as the data arrives, so as soon as the data is in this field, the automation will be triggered. So I'm going to click on plus, and I'm going to say Leonardo Phoenix, and I've set 4 images. So now I just let it run. I don't need to go back to make. I don't have to hit run once. It just does it in the background. So you can literally just switch off your make and only run it from your Airtable. So in a second, you'll see the 4 images will be created here. There's a kitten. Let's have a look. There's another kitten. Well, let's have a look at the results here. Now you see, if I double click this, let's have a look. It's got a kitten and it's got sort of a neutral background. It's centered in the middle, so it's easy for the next step to cut this whole part out, or this whole cat out. So I'm going to set my price here. I'm going to say $1.99. Oh, that's $199. Sorry, that's quite an expensive SVG. Let's go for $1.99. Now, I'd like to trigger this here. So I'm going to say approve. And now I need to go into the second part of the automation. If you're finding this a bit complicated, which it is, you can just go to our school community and you can download these automations. So number one automation that we just made here. The second automation I'm going to be making in a minute. You can also get the Airtable database. So you can get it all in one package, including detailed steps on how to install it. Not hard. Once it's up, you can just get this running and you can start making money straight away. So that's it for this part. Let's carry on to part 2. Okay, I'm just going to leave this one running because I already have my outputs in my database here. And now what I'd like to see is, I'd like to set up the whole part that it sends it to Etsy. It does the background removal. It upscales it. And let's build that right now. So now I'm going to be showing you part 2 of the automation, and what this one actually does, it will talk to the second tab within your Airtable database. So that has a couple of images in it, and it's got the price, it's got the status. So is it live? Is it a new item, or do you still have to approve it? We've put that step in purposely because you might want to generate 8 images and then choose manually which one you want to have. You might not want to approve them all. You might want to approve them all. That's fully up to you. We've just put that in as a fail-safe. You just want to check your work or check what AI is made of it. You could also just automate that process so it automatically goes through. So you don't have to check it in Airtable anymore. Right. What I'm going to be showing you is this automation. So this is the one that you get in our school community. I'll take you through step by step how to make it in a second. It will be creating, grabbing that original image from here. It will be removing the background. It will be getting the background and uploading it to a third party where the SVG is going to be made. So it's going to be turning that PNG that is created with a transparent background into an SVG. Then it's going to upload that into Etsy. It's going to create a title and a description with either ChatGPT or with DeepSeek. It's going to put a watermark overlay over the top, and then it's going to upload the original PNG, so the deliverable files. So when someone types in, I'd like to have a cute kitten in Etsy for their art projects, they will be able to get the PNG, so the original PNG, but also the SVG, which is like vector file. So what this one does here, it uploads the SVG and it uploads the PNG. I will show you step by step how to do this. Now, here's one I've prepared earlier. Remember the first 2 steps that we did in the previous step? Please go back to that because this is just exactly the same thing. You need to create a webhook and then we need to get a record. And the only difference here is that this webhook that we have here, you need to put your webhook into automations, and instead of putting it into here, this generated proofs, you're going to put it into image approved. So you put your new webhook in here, and then you hit update. Now let me just have a look what we're going to do here. So we have our first watching for a webhook. So that would mean that when this gets triggered, and your trigger in this case, so that's the start of this second part of automation, it's triggered by this column here. So I have a cute little kitten here. This one, I'd like to turn that one into an SVG, and if I were to drop down, I could say approve it here. So then this whole automation will start running. We're going to grab the image from Leonardo itself. I'm going to say Leonardo AI, and I'm going to make an API call. And the API call is just talking to URL, is what I'm going to put in here, is going to be this v1 variation no BG, as in no background. That's what I'm going to put in, yeah? Then I'm going to say, what is the method going to be? It's going to be post method, because we're going to be sending it. I'm going to scroll down, and so I'm going to put ID in there, and then the value here is going to be my Leonardo ID. That went a bit fast. That's the Leonardo ID from this step. So this one has, is grabbing the records here, and this one passes on the Leonardo ID. Next thing, I don't want Leonardo to crash. So I'm going to put in what I call a sleep item. I'm just going to put 20 seconds. So I'm giving it a 20-second delay. It will run through this automation, but it will actually stop here. And then when it's done that, okay, so it's run also the 20-second timer. Now I have all the fields that are being pushed through. So what I want to do, I want to go to Leonardo. I'm going to go another API connection, make an API call. And I'm going to grab this same URL that I had here, but I'm going to take no BG off. Let me just show you. I'm just going to put XXX. I'm going to go, see this one. I'm going to grab that part, take the no BG off. I'm going to put that in. And what do I want to map? Variation, body, this one. This is the one that the ID. So no background ID. So it's grabbed this one, this image that is made where it's taking the background off, and then I'm grabbing that ID there. So I'm being able to push that further along. I'm posting it, so I'm sending it. And then that's all I have to do for this module. Just going to run this automation once, because for the next step, I will need to add on the SVG. So it's waiting for a webhook. I'm just going to give this one the approved, and then it should run immediately. And there you see it started running when I put in the, when I approved it. It's going to wait for 30 seconds one more time. And after this, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be adding our SVG in. Now, all of these are done. You can see that with the little ones at the top. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go and add this one, Pixart. It's free up to a certain amount of runs. You can just change your email address if you want to have more runs. Type in API, make an API call. If you don't have your thing connected yet, click add, follow the, if you don't have it connected yet, you can use the online help that they have. Every module in Make has loads and loads of help files. So just grab that. Now, what I want to do, I want to add this /1.0/vectorizer. Now, after that, what I want to do, I just want to scroll down and I want to go image underscore URL. And now I want to get the URL from here, this one. So I'm grabbing the previous step URL. Now, that's it. I've grabbed the image already. I've taken the background off and I'm turning it into an SVG. So it's worth something now. What I want to do, I want to be able to update something. So just now my trigger was to have this approved, but I'd like, after I've approved it, that this automatically turns to live. So how I do that is I'm going to go to Airtable. I'm going to say update and type in update a record. And then I'm going to say, what is my base? It's going to be my SVG store. What tab am I uploading, or am I updating SVG library? And then the only thing I really want to do here, instead of mapping this, I've got a drop down here. So I've got new, approved, or live. I want the status to be changed to live. So that's after the SVG is created, it's gone to live. Yeah. What I want to do after that, I want to go to file URL, and then I want to put in the body data URL. Just going to check, what else do I need? Smart links? No, don't need any of that. The SVG file's in there, and then I'm going to say save. So after that, I want to get the original prompt, because that's what I'm going to be using to generate the description and the titles. What do I say? I'm going to say get a record, and I'm going to grab my original SVG, store, and then I want to grab this request page. Yeah, so the original prompt there. No, it's not. And then what I need to put in, not the record ID, I'm going to put the rest request page, that one in. So I've got this little, yeah, that's what it's going to map. Let me just rename this one. I'm going to go rename. I'm going to say get original prompt. That's what I'm going to call it. What you can do in this step, we can go down to routes. So in order to get a router, so that's a sort of like a crossroad, you type in flow, and then you will get, so I can do it again. Type in flow, and then you have like a router, iterator, or a repeater. I've gone for router, so I'm going to go down two routes. So I can put ChatGPT here, and then I can put Deep AI there, and you can put another one, Claude. You can put whatever route you want to go down. I am just going to show it you for, let me just delete that one. I'm just going to show it you for ChatGPT. So I'm going to message, I'm going to create a completion. What model am I going to talk to? I'm going to talk to, as soon as it's loaded, I'm going to go for its latest system model. And then I'm going to message the developer, and I'm going to put this in. You are an Etsy SVG. Let's put a /PNG store curator. You will generate titles and descriptions for SVG images based on the prompt used to create this image, what I'd like it to do, so I'm asking it two things in one prompt. So instead of having to have multiple ChatGPTs after each other and grabbing all the fields from all of them, I'm just going to do all of that in one go. So I do that by saying respond in JSON. So what I'm putting in here is I'm opening a bracket, and I'm saying title and description. Those are the two things that have to be separated. And then after that, I'm going to go and talk to a user. And what do I want to say? I want to have, what would you like to create? So it's grabbing that original prompt, what would you like to create? And I'm putting that in there. No, I'd like to have this on URL, and then what is the URL going to be? It's going to be the URL from here. Now, the only thing I have to do, because I did have that one little thing that is a response format, I'm going to put that into JSON. I'm going to hit OK. So now the output here will be JSON. Okay, I've added in a couple of notes here. So in our school community, when you do download this, you will get all the notes straight to the API documentation in case you need it. Also for Leonardo. From here, I'm going to go and hit the plus button here. Then I'm going to go and type in Etsy. Now, what I'd like to do, I'd like to create a listing. That's my very first listing. Select your shop at the top. If you don't have one yet, add it here. If you don't have a shop, please don't carry on with this, because the rest will not work. First, get your whole Etsy store set up, approved, put in your passport, prove who you are. Only then can you get this part running. So once you have it connected, follow the online help. What I want to have, I would like to map the results from this one here. So this is 24. I'm going to say that. I'm going to just grab this. I know it's going to be title. So I'm grabbing the results from that one, and then I type in description here, and I drop that one in there. So I'm grabbing the results dot title from here, and then the results from dot description from there. So that's the JSON that it made in the previous step. Quantity, I'm just going to leave it at 1. The price, that's the original one. in SVG store set price. That's the one that I'm going to put in there. So I'm going to go all the way to the bottom, set price. Who made this list? Of course I did, together with a little bit of help from AI. When was it made? Well, 2023 is the last one I can put, but if you hit map, you can sort of manually edit it. So I'm going to put it in 2025. What's the taxonomy? That's going to be a category. I'm going to say art and collectibles. Is it a physical object? No, it's a downloadable object. Doesn't have any height, weight, or any of the other ones. You could add a couple of tags in if you wanted. I'm just going to put SVG as one, PNG as one. PNG. These are our standard tags that we're going to put in. But in our upcoming automations to do with Xe, we're also going to be automating the tags based on everything that we've created in the previous steps here. So stay tuned for that one. I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom. The only one I have to do is a customizable, and I had to look at, is it personalizable? No, and no, and the rest I just leave as is. That's it. I have my first listing created. The only thing is I need to get all those objects I have in the previous step. So my SVG here and the PNG, this PNG here, so the one with the removed background, I need to get them all into my Etsy listing. So in order to do that, I do want to give people, I want to show them a preview, but I want to be able to show them a preview with a thumbnail or with a watermark over the top. And I use just a very simple, and for that I use a Google slide. So I have it here at the top, Google slide. I'm going to create a presentation from a template. I have already created one. This one will be listed in our community as well. So I'm just going to go for SVG. No, it's going to be watermark is what I've called it. SVG thumbnail watermark. And let me just show you what this one looks like. I'm going to go to slides. There's my Google Slides. Sign in. There's our presentation. So what we're doing here, we've got two slides. We've got the first slide has got a transparent PNG over the top, and I only had to do this once. So I made this in Photoshop, but I did it once. So it's transparent background. It's got an 8% see-through, so the transparency is set to 8%. So if I have a black background or a darker image, this would come out good. And if it's on a light background, it still comes out pretty good. So this is set to front. And you can see below it, there is something called a thumbnail. And the thumbnail is set to back. See, I can set it to front now. So that means it's set to back. So these two combined make the thumbnail. The second part is just the PNG. So that would be the deliverable PNG that we're going to give to our clients, including the SVG on the side. So I'm just going to put in title. I'm going to put in XXX. Sorry, I need to grab the title from here because I'm using that same title in my slide. Let me just put that in there. I needed to do one more thing at the bottom. I need to put it on advanced, and I need to be able to share it. So what I want to do next, I want to be able to grab that content. I'm going to say upload an image to a presentation. That's the one I'm going to do. Then next thing I want to do, I want to grab that original presentation ID from the previous step. I'd like to have that one is set standard to that. So I'd like to go value. I'm going to put in tag. I'm going to put in thumbnail. Sorry, my microphone is right in front of my keyboard. Thumbnail. And then what's the URL going to be? Well, it's going to be the one. So we have this thumbnail here corresponds to this title there. So I am putting that thumbnail on the back there. Oh, thumbnail, it's going to be a thumbnail because it's got a watermark over the top. So I would like to grab this one, and I need the URL from here. That's all I have to do for this one. Next is that I need to be able to send it, or I need to be able to grab the slide that's come out of here. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to HTTP, get a file. And what's the URL going to be? Well, here's a little bit of a cheat code. I'm putting it in right now, and you just replace these X's, and you replace those X's with the presentation ID. After you've done that, Sorry, I'm just going to rename this one just to make it a little bit more clear. Get watermarked thumbnail. Yeah, so I'm grabbing that watermark thumbnail, and that's going to be my preview thumbnail for my Etsy shop. After that, I'd like to go for get the PNG. So I'm going to go for HTTP request, get a file. And what file do I need to get? Well, I need to get the output from data body URL. Save. Let's PNG. Next, I'm going to say Etsy listing image. And what's the listing ID? That would be the previous step one. And which one do you want to map? Let's map it to the thumbnail. That's fine. And then the data set from that. That's fine. So you make sure it's doing the thumbnail right there. Rank. I'm just going to put that at 1. So that would be the. Let me show you. If I look at my Etsy account, I can see that this is the first image. If you want to have it on the second, you put it on number 2. Well, that would be that one, 3, 4, etc. We're just using one image because it's a very simple digital file. So I'm going to leave the rest. I don't need to put that one in. I'm going to put it on empty. Is it watermarked? Well, let's just say no, because the image is just an image. It's a flattened image which has been made within slides. So it's not watermarked anymore. So I'm going to say no. Now I'd like to grab the SVG file. I'm going to do the same here. Get a file. I'm going to go for the URL from here. This is going to be the body data there. And then, let me just rename that one. Get SVG. I'd like to be able to upload the PNG and then the SVG. So let's first do that PNG, yeah? So I'm going to go to Etsy, I'm going to update, I'm going to make another API call here. Make an API call. So just to make sure I'm doing that one, yeah? So I'm in my same store. The URL is going to be like a little cheat code that I have. And this is that cheat code, it's shop. And then I'm going to put here, I'm going to put my shop ID, shop ID, there we go. That one I'm going to remove. I'm going to put my shop ID here. I'm going to put my listing ID, and then I'm going to post it. So I'm going to send this item off to Etsy. And what I'd like to do next, I would like to add, let's move this up for you. Not a query string, multi-part form data, and then I'd like to add a field, and this is where we're going to put in a file, and the file is going to be, let me just map it so I always know that I'm doing the right one. There's the file name data, file name, and what's the data? That's the data. This way I'm sure that I'm sending the right file. Next thing I'd like to do, I'm going to put this as rank value number 2, and then I'm going to give, so my final delivery of this file, this PNG file, I'm going to give it a name, and then I'm going to say this one is going to be PNG hyphen file. That's how I'm going to give it to someone. But don't just give him that file, add .png on the end. If it does not have this file extension, it will not work. Someone will receive a file like this. It will be a PNG, but it won't have the file extension. And often you can read it, but it's just not fully delivered then. So add PNG on the end. And we're going to do the same for our SVG. So I'm just going to call this one, I'm going to rename this upload PNG. Yeah. Okay, now I need to do the same for the next one. So I'm just going to clone that, put it over here so I know I'm in line with that one. That's just how I like to work. I'm going to do the same ID, post, blah, 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 blah. But now I need to map another item, and that's going to be this one. So it's going to be, it's the data. There's the file name, text rank 2. Name file, okay, and then change SVG. So let me just explain it to you one more time. I've created the description and I've made an Etsy listing here. I've created a Google slide with a watermark over your original image. So it's turned it into a thumbnail that hopefully can't be stolen. There's probably an AI for that to rip all watermarks off stuff, but let's make it a little harder for people to steal our uniquely created artwork. Yeah, so we're grabbing our PNG URL and we're grabbing our SVG URL, which we created in previous steps. Next, we're uploading our PNG as an API into an API. So it's grabbing the file from here and updating your original listing. Then it does the same thing in the last step. It grabs the file here, the SVG, and it uploads it, and then it updates your listing. Sounds complicated, but if you just look at it in a logical, chronological order, it's very simple the way that it's been built. So now the whole thing is, so let's go back to our database. I'm going to test the whole thing. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to zoom out. I'm going to say immediately after the data arrives. So I'm going to say save here. Once I go back to my database, so I like this cute little kitten here, and I like to send that one off to my listing and have a PNG, an SVG, and the thumbnail created all at once. So in order to do that, I'm just going to say approve here, and then what it does, it's going to approve it. So it's going to run through this whole automation. Should be doing that in the background right now. And as soon as it's done, it will upload the SVG here, and it will change that one to live. So it might just take a couple of minutes, so I'll be back in a second. There's my SVG file that's just come in. My status has changed to live. Let's just have a look at that image in. There we go. There's the image in our Etsy. Let me have a look. Start at the top. Cute black and white kitten sitting illustration, SVG. Let's have a look at the image. This is an SVG. I'm just going to open it like this. No, it's a JPEG, and it's got a watermark over the top. And if I look carefully, it's over the kitten. So you've always got your we're called SVG nuggets. It's got that watermark set over the top, and then my deliverable files. That would be my SVG file and my PNG file. Let me just download them. So I've got my files here. I've got my PNG file. If the background's gray on the Mac, you can see that it's transparent. Let's check out the SVG file. SVG is just a vectorized file, and it always does that with a white background as a preview, but it will be completely transparent when you put it into a tool like I don't know, Illustrator or something like that. So this works. It's also come up with bring a touch of cuteness to your projects with this adorable black and white kitten sitting illustration. So that it's come up with a description for it. Right, I'm just going to show you in Make the other things that we've added onto this file. So we've added in all the API documentation, including the notes. We've added a filter here that says we'd rather use DeepSeek. The DeepSeek hype now, it's just very cheap to use DeepSeek. So that's what we're doing. We're parsing a response from DeepSeek. So it's creating a title and a description, doing exactly the same as ChatGPT does here. This is only available for people in our school community. We've also added in the API documentation for our Etsy. But if you just followed along in the workshop, you don't need the documentation. Look, next week we are creating something really cool, really, really cool. We have used Make again to create something like this. That's an AI influencer, but made cheaply with cheap tools. But look at the result. And step one is that we're going to show you how you can create this based on a model, based on the face, based on a prompt that you want to give it. The second part to the automation is going to be that we're going to automate it. So we're going to make her give her motion. So she's going to move around, or he, or they, them, whatever pronoun you want to be using. This is in itself is golden, because you can make loads of money with that. If you have an AI influencer account, so you could start an AI influencer account, you could post three things a day onto Instagram, you could put it into Reels, you could put it into whatever you want to put it into there, have AI actually create all the descriptions, all the messages that it has to be said, and then I have another automation run on the side, and we actually have that automation. It should be at the top here somewhere. How to auto respond within Instagram, so you can make it seem like that person is real, and then have people interact with them. So we're going to be showing you how to monetize all of it, and what the options are, and how to create all of that. So I hope you like what I've built here, or what we here at Make It No Code have built for you. And I'd love to see what you think. And of course, I'd like to see you in our community sometime soon. So until next time, bye bye.